Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only live streaming face-to-face arts and entertainment podcast covering northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. Summer Costco is behind the scenes in the producer's chair, and tonight we're here with Ned Russin, the vocalist and bassist of Glitterer, right before his album release show at the Gallery Sound in Wilkes-Barre. We're talking about how this solo project became a full band, how that changed the dynamic of writing songs, his early local shows at places like Carl Hall, R.I.P., the stories behind the songs on their new album, Erer. I think that's good, right? That's fair enough. Yep. Pronunciation. Starting his own label, Purple Circle Records, answering fan questions, and much, much more. So please join our conversation with your comments down below. We're doing it a little bit differently today. We have to work around Ned's schedule because he's got the show tonight. So we're not taking live questions and comments, but we did ask for your questions in advance. So we will be addressing those later on in the show. So hopefully we cover something you're interested in, but please continue to leave your comments down below anyway. Before we dive in, I just want to thank our sponsor, Center City Print, who provides us with this great studio space. Use promo code NEPAScene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off. Center City Print can bring your ideas to life in 3 locations: Scranton, Kingston, and Hazleton. These one-stop shops are locally owned and operated, offering high-quality printed products, copy and custom print services, and design solutions to help you, your small business, your nonprofit, your band, your photography, your art project, or any venture thrive. Visit them now at centercityprint.com and use promo code NEPAScene online or in person for 10% off. All right, so it's been quite a few years since you've been on the podcast. How have you been?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me back. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. And you've been living in Washington, D.C., so how long you been there and what's that been like?
Yeah, I moved to D.C. in 2019, and I've really enjoyed my time there. I was going there quite frequently before I moved there, and I've been lucky enough to have a pretty strong group of friends there for years, just from playing down there since I was young. And so there's a really great group of people down there who I've, become a part of. And there's a great local scene. There's a great community of like-minded individuals. We kind of exist outside of the what I think you would assume is like the traditional DC way of life. Like, nobody's involved in stuff on the hill, and it's kind of nice to be away from that, especially right now with the way things are. But yeah, it's a really cool place of people who are doing things, I don't know, in weird ways, and just continuing this tradition that's been there forever of finding ways to do things in their own way. And yeah, I'm happy to be a part of that.
So there's a community in Washington, which is probably unheard of nationally right now, but it does happen, and it is there. People get along. Maybe some people could take some advice from that, or some lessons from that. Yeah,
I mean, the DC punk scene has been one of the strongest scenes in the world, for 40 years now, at least. And it's always been run by people who are kind of weird and who are interested in the community as a whole. And so I have found it to be a really great place where people are focused on making sure that everyone is taken care of, that things are addressed, that things are run in a way that helps everybody. And so I think that has allowed it to thrive for as long as it has, and has continued into the present day.
And they've kind of embraced what you've been doing?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've had friends there since I'm 18 or something, and I'm still friends with those people. Okay. I hang out with them regularly. And so I feel lucky that even before I had moved down there, I felt like a part of that scene that I really exist in now. Yeah, and it's it's been really cool to see the band evolve into a DC band, because it kind of like started the band when I was living in New York. Didn't really feel like I had a place for the band in a weird way, and obviously being from here, I still feel a very strong connection to here, and feel like this is a very big part of my identity. And so I just never really knew what I fit in. And then going to DC, it felt like I found another place of like-minded individuals who, maybe not everybody's doing the same thing that I'm doing, but we just have similar interests and similar ideologies. And that's what brings us together and allows us to try and do anything that we're doing, whether it be booking a show or putting out a record or, any kind of creative thing that we're doing. Like, everybody seems united in that, and I appreciate that a lot.
That's awesome. So last night you played at Archer Hall in Allentown.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet. So what was that like?
Yeah, that was our first time there, and I talked a lot about it with people last night because I don't know the last time that I even played Allentown. It might have been the last United Youth show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it was a long time ago. It's. I just feel like Allentown was never really a place that we played that often for some reason. There's a lot of kind of weird underground places.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the last however long, there's been some big clubs, but nothing kind of in between. And so yeah, it was nice to be back there, see a lot of friends from all over the place traveled, and that was really great to see them. We played with our friends in Narrowhead, who are from Houston, Texas, and they're a great band, so that was really cool. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, for a Wednesday night in Allentown, like a new venue, I think it went pretty well.
Nice. And I've heard the venue itself is like beautiful,
Yeah, I mean, it's like a brand new venue, so it's nice, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Allentown many times to go to like Croc Rock and places like that. Where not exactly, a lot of great shows, not exactly the nicest place. So it's cool that they got something, brand new like that. That's cool. I got to get down there one of these days. So how does it feel to return back here to your hometown area for a show?
It's great. It's I put a lot of pressure on playing home because it's something that I care so deeply about, and I always want to do something cool, even if I'm not involved in the community day to day. I still have many friends here. I still visit here all the time. I still feel a part of the community here, and so I just always want to try to do something that, I don't know, showcases that. And so, I mean, tonight is a little different because we're not playing with other bands, and so I guess we don't have the ability to show, I don't know, other bands that we're friends with and that are coming up that we like, but it's still, anytime we play here, we just try to have it be something that I think is, I don't want to say worthwhile, because I think every show is worthwhile, but it's just something that is special, to me. That's important. And so, yeah, it's always great to play here. There's still so many great bands here and people booking shows, and so it's always easy to come back and just find something to do. And we always try to do that whenever we can.
So, are there any maybe special songs in the set list or anything like that, or something planned for tonight that people might?
We're trying to just play as many new songs as possible, really.
Okay.
It's the record comes out tomorrow, and so we've been playing new songs for over a year now, just trying to break them in, figure them out, especially before recording, trying to make sure we had them right. And the record's still not out, but we're gonna try and play, I think, 5 new songs tonight or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, just some of the songs the first time we're ever playing them live. So I think hopefully that'll be exciting for people, even if they haven't heard it yet.
Yeah. Well, the last time I saw you live was at Carl Hall, which is unfortunately closed. But at the time, it was just you and the laptop.
Yeah.
And when you were doing those types of shows, was that nerve-wracking to just be you and a microphone on stage, like not even an instrument in front of you, so to speak, to like
Yeah.
like I the whole time I kept thinking, man, that's I felt like that was brave, like
Yeah.
just getting up there and just going for it like that.
Yeah. The thing is, at the beginning, I didn't want it to be that setup. I wanted to have a bass because I felt most comfortable with that, but I couldn't figure. There are some songs where it was just bass and keys, and the keys came in later, and I didn't have the technical know-how to figure out, okay, how do I play this song and have the keys come in at the right time, other than getting all this new expensive gear and troubleshooting that. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sing then, and I'm just gonna do this. And the beginning stages of that were extremely nerve-wracking, because I'd never done anything like that. I'm not, despite I feel like feeling comfortable playing music, I'm not particularly comfortable in being like in front of people. And like I don't consider myself a good public speaker. I get really nervous.
It's the same actually.
Yeah, it's like it's weird how the context changed that perception, you know? It's like in the middle of a set, after I've settled in, I could speak. It may not be like it might not go as well as I want it to. I sometimes have the problem where I know what A is and I know what C is and I forget to tell you what B is. So sometimes I'm like not making the connections that I think I should be making, but I could do it.
Yeah.
That era of the band felt very much like public speaking, where it's like I can do this and I'm like I have the ability, but I'm like terrified. And part of that was exciting because I think anybody who gets interested in punk music has this kind of fascination with, I don't know, things that are frightening in a way.
Yeah.
Not like in a horror movie sense.
Danger is the first thing I thought of.
Yeah. But yeah, like something that's like out of the ordinary, something weird. And to me, that was like, this feels like how I felt when I was a kid. And I was like, I don't know what these people are doing, and that's weird, and I'm attracted to that.
Right.
And so I was doing that, and I was like, I have to continue to do this because it makes me uncomfortable. And then when I started to get comfortable, I realized people watching me, as you said, like, were uncomfortable. And when I kind of got to the point where I could try to flip that, and I could change, you know, my anxieties for the audiences, it felt like a really interesting antagonistic thing, which also felt very punk.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was the least punk thing, like sonically, but the setup was very antagonistic, and I really liked that. Yeah. And so once I settled into that mode, I found a lot of things that I liked about it. But then there were a lot of things that I didn't like about it. And that's kind of how the band evolved to its current state, you know, or maybe even like de-evolved to a certain extent, because I think the band stuff is always what I've been most comfortable with. And so doing that was putting myself out of my comfort zone and then returning to a more traditional form that I'm familiar with was like, something not, it wasn't a step backwards, but it was kind of like returning to a more natural state or something. Right.
Well, the band came together when you did Rationale, the last album, right? So let's maybe talk a little bit about that album. And was it the album that made you want to do the band, or the band that made you want to do the album? Like, how did that work exactly?
So we put out a second LP, Life Is Not a Lesson, in the pandemic, like finished the record in, I don't know, May of 2020 or something like that. And had no idea how we were going to move forward. Was really uncertain. But before that point, we played one show at Carl Hall. It was with Wicca and Firewalker, and that was like right when we were starting to write songs for Life Is Not a Lesson. And I was like, this will be like the band era, you know, of Glitterer. And so we did the early songs with just tracks, and then we did the second half of the set with the band.
Okay.
And that was like, okay, this will be the transition into this new stage of the band. So I already wanted to do something like that.
So yeah, this is going back.
Yeah.
Okay.
but then did another tour or two with just me, and then the pandemic hit, finished the record, and then was really unsure of how I was going to move forward. And then when shows started to come back, I had continued practicing just by myself. I'd go to a practice space every week and just play those songs and sing them by myself. And so many of them are about this kind of like lonely feeling, and to sing songs about being alone while you're in kind of forced loneliness made it like a really dramatic thing for me. And I was like, this is too much. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to play with other people. That's what I want to do and what I always have wanted to do. And so once we started playing shows again, started to get the band together in a more serious way. And yeah, we started playing together in 2021, and we started working on new songs pretty quickly into that era. And then, yeah, once we kind of just like had enough together, we did what became Rationale. Because I don't know, for me personally, I like to just always kind of have like ideas moving around, to have songs started, to just be working on something, and then once it kind of feels like it's becoming a more cohesive thing, that's when it's like, okay, maybe now we should start thinking about a record. Even if I think the whole time in the back of our heads we know it's like, as a band, you're writing songs, you know, it's the end goal is to record them and present them in some fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just were working on stuff, and then once we got it together, we just went in the studio and made Rationale, you know, and that was, I guess, close to a year and a half, 2 years of us like trying to like be a real band, but also it was in a weird era where we weren't touring that much. You know, it was just kind of like tough to think about doing anything, and so we just kind of were at home practicing a decent amount and just working on new songs always, and then yeah, and since then it's I think, as we've been touring more and more and releasing more music, I think people are more, I don't know, aware of the band in this stage, because I think there was a period of time in that era where people were still like, is it full band or is it laptop?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's full band, don't worry. You know, like, I'm not going to weird you out too much. Yeah, so I think it felt like a transitional time, even though I feel like we were all in. I think it was just the slowness of the world at that time, and just also the slowness of the way that we work at times. It felt like other people were transitioning to getting used to us in that capacity.
Right. Well, to go from a project that you're doing pretty much almost completely by yourself to then going into the band dynamic, how was that a natural transition, or are you looking at it differently now than you did when you started, or is it kind of like, is it one linear, clear path from one to the other? Or?
I don't know if it's like a entirely linear, but it's something that just felt like easy and natural. I think the biggest hurdles to get over were the fact that the people who are coming into the band, who are my friends and who are like, we all are, you know, we're friendly, and we have a good rapport, and we understand each other. Like, they were coming into something that was established, and so I think people at the beginning were uncertain of how to navigate new roles in a band that maybe it didn't have them before, and that's something that I've never done. And so that was maybe something weird to navigate on all of our end, but at the same time, I don't want to be like the band dictator, and I don't want to be like, this is my project and like you guys have to play like what I wrote. It's like the whole thing for me is bands are at their best when it's a group of people coming together and everyone is you know, represented, everyone is collaborating, everyone is having their ideas heard, and everyone shares some sort of overlapping opinion, whether it's like an aesthetic opinion or just even like a logistical opinion. Like, it just has to make sense.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, once we kind of figured all these things out, I think I'd like to think it was smooth. I don't know. I'm speaking from my perspective, which is biased, obviously. yeah, it just felt like something that was easy for me. And maybe that's just because I've spent my entire musical life playing with other people. And part of the challenge for me for doing glitter was trying to see if I could do it in a different context. And that returning to the thing that I knew is not that big of a deal to me, because it's like, yeah, I know this.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to write music with other people. I know what it's like to collaborate, and I like that. And so I was excited to be able to do that again.
Now, when I was doing my research on the band and reading up and everything, catching up on everything you've been up to and everything, you met your keyboardist in an interesting way.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's kind of been with it from more or less the beginning of this sort of thing.
Yeah, okay, so Nicole, who plays keys for us, owns a really great donut shop in DC called Donut Run. And when they opened up, I happened to live right around the corner from them. And I was like, hey, if you need any help on weekends or something, like, I'm just around. And then so I started to just go in every Saturday or Sunday and just help out. And I honestly was just folding boxes for like 8 hours a day. And so there was, I don't know, a time when stuff was starting to come back, and the idea of doing a band was like becoming serious. And I was talking to her, and I was like, hey, like, I don't know, do you know anybody who plays keys or something? Like, I'm looking for somebody to play keys in the band. Like, I think I could, but I'd rather play bass. And she's like, I played piano when I was a kid. Do you think like I could do it? I'm like, I mean, I wrote the songs on piano, and I'm not a very talented pianist. So like, you probably can play everything that I wrote. And she came to one practice at the practice space, and she got it pretty quickly. And then she came back to the second practice and like had everything good to go. And I was like, at first we were kind of like, this is just like a trial kind of thing. Like, I don't want to have tryouts for the band, but we were both kind of in a thing. It's like, I don't know, who knows how this will work. And then it was just easy. And so, and Nicole's been in the band ever since. Still running the donut shop.
Cool.
She's able to continue to do that even on the road, which is cool.
Nice.
Another great thing about Donut Run is that they're one of the establishments in DC that like employs all the punks. So like if you're in a band that needs to go on tour, you work at like one of 3 places, and Donut Run is one of those places where everyone who works there is in a band. And so when somebody goes on tour, everyone covers for them. And it's like a great symbiotic relationship where everyone knows what it's like to want to go and play shows, and so that everybody makes it happen for everybody else.
If only more jobs were that understanding.
Yeah, it's tough. I understand. Yeah, but it's cool that it exists.
So, how did you choose the other band members and figure out what worked best for your current iteration?
Yeah, so the lineup right now is Nicole on keys, Robin on drums, and Colin on guitar. Robin I've known for a really long time, but never been in a band with. We had a previous drummer who was in a bunch of bands and decided to bow out so he could focus on some other stuff. And in that moment, Robin's other band was winding down, and they were touring quite a bit. And so he came to one practice, and I think he played 15 songs like from the jump, just good to go. And we're like, okay, you want to be in the band? Like, it was that simple. He's a really talented drummer. And he's a guy from DC who I've known since I've been going down there since I was a kid. He plays in a bunch of punk and hardcore bands still. And it was just a nice and easy click. And then Colin is my friend from Pennsylvania, who has been one of my best friends since I'm 15. He's been involved with glitter since very early on, because even when he wasn't in the band, he actually recorded on some of the records. I remember reading that. Yeah, the first 2 glitter. Oh no, actually, I think it was just "Life Is Not a Lesson." The second glitter record, Colin engineered the drums on it, because that was a record that we did apart in COVID, And so I recorded all the instrument, all the like the string stuff and keys in DC at a practice space, and then I sent it to Colin, and then Colin and my brother Ben, who was playing with us at the time, recorded drums at my parents' house in their basement. And so yeah, Colin was like always involved in the band, and yeah, he's just been playing with us for I don't know, a little bit now, and that was like an incredibly easy decision because he's one of my closest friends, and he's an incredibly talented guitarist, really great musician, and we have a really great rapport just because we grew up playing music together and we grew up discovering music together, so we have like a very deep understanding of each other's tastes and each other's sensibilities. And so when we reference something in practice and we're writing, I think we both have like a weird like subconscious understanding that you only get when you spend like 2 decades with somebody,
right?
You know? It's like, yeah, like we're saying something because we're saying something, and the other person can understand like the rich subtext because we don't have to say those things because we've said it for so many years at this point. Yeah, and so that's the current lineup of the band. It's a really great lineup, I have to say. I really enjoy playing with everybody. I really enjoy being on the road with everybody. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just nice to have a group who I feel like is after the same goal. And our goal is very simple. Like, we just want to play music and we want to play it as best as we can. And so when we have a group of people working towards that, united in this idea, it just feels, I don't know, it feels like good to be a part of.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. And you
Thank
also
you.
started your own label,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. So Purple Circle Records, which is this is the first album that you're going to be releasing, this upcoming one, through Purple Circle?
This is the first new record, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I started a label with my brother Ben. I don't know, maybe like 2 years ago. It's always been an idea that I've had forever. But it was just something I was like, I don't know, like we'll just kind of like figure it out. And then a couple years ago, the first 2 Glitter EPs were unavailable, and so I decided I'm just going to combine them, put them on one 12-inch, and then I just put a Purple Circle on there. And I put the catalog number as Purple Circle 1. And it's just kind of like, I'm just going to put this out in the world and see what happens. And then after that, we started, I don't know, just messing around with the idea of like, not doing the label in a more legitimate way, in that like we're, I don't know, it's like a job and it's a career and we're pursuing bands and trying to like do all this stuff. But it's like, we're just trying to do what we can to the best of our ability. And Ben was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I want to be a part of that. And so the first thing we did after that was a reissue of the first Title Fight 7-inch Kingston.
Right, yeah.
And so we did that. And the first press of that went like way better than we thought it would. And then kind of in that time is when we started to like really plan for the idea of doing a glitter record on Purple Circle, because that's always been like a dream of mine, really. And so we did a second press of the Kingston record, coinciding with the second press of the glitter record, and we used that time to like set up distribution and kind of get like, I don't know, the more like back end side of things set up. And so yeah, like we used that time to figure out how to get in touch with record stores, how to get in touch with distributors and get them to carry stuff, how to just like handle our mail order and like do all this stuff. And then, yeah, we got it all set up, and it wasn't like a big announcement, so I don't think people really looked at it like this legitimate thing. It was just, we had a website and we had some stuff on it, and you could buy a reissue of, you know, the Title Fight 7-inch, and you could buy the glitter EPs on a 12-inch. Yeah. And it was like going fine, but then I think the new record coming out kind of solidified it in a way that I don't know, has always been the idea, but I don't know if people knew was going to be the thing. And so, yeah, it's nerve-wracking in a different way. It's frustrating in a different way. I think anybody who puts something out into the world, you're always going to find something that you dislike about it after the fact. And
Right.
I wish I caught this before I printed this, you know? That's just the inevitability of making anything.
Sure.
Those things are much harder to swallow when it's like you are the only person between idea and presentation.
Yeah.
Because at least like when a record label puts it out, it's like you have someone to blame. It's like, oh, why didn't they catch that? Why didn't they catch that typo or this thing or whatever?
Yeah.
So those things, it's like, okay, we have to really hold each other accountable because it's like we are the start and end of this thing. And so, yeah, there are things with the new record that I'm not 100% pleased with. And it's like, hey, the record exists. It's shipped to record stores already. People have already received it in the mail. Like, we did what we set out to do. And now we have to work on like, okay, when we make more copies, we're going to fix these little errors. We're going to do these. And it's like, I'm just trying to be, you know, good to myself, not be too hard on myself, but also like, I want to, the label is very like important to me. And it's like a big part of my ideology of trying to create something that you control, that you are in charge of, but also that you, that is a part of a community, you know, and it's part of the DC community. It's part of the community here in Northeast PA. It's part of, you know, like Ben's community in Barcelona. It's part of like the worldwide punk community. And we do this so that we can showcase those relationships, so that we get it in stores that are, you know, run by people who care about music in the way that we care about music. We get it to people who feel that same way. We advertise in magazines, which is not something we're really doing, but like just find places that align with our ideals and also care about supporting this community rather than capitalizing on it and rather than trying to find a way to make a bunch of money off it, because that's not our interest.
Yeah. Our
interest is number one in the music. And so when we put that first, we can do all these other things however we want, you know? And so it's, it's been really great. It's a learning process. But I'd like to think that it's going okay so far.
Well, and you're a bit of a music collector and stuff yourself, right? And so really you have to look at it as, you know, if there's ever an error or something that you're not happy with, you're just creating a new collector's item.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because people have said that to me, and it's like, yeah, I have the Beatles White Album with 6 typos on the labels. It's like,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, the people are like, yeah, that's amazing. Like,
but you know, when they saw that, they're like, this sucks. Like, who the fuck didn't check this? Like, you know, granted, that's the Beatles.
Sure,
and they probably had like 1 million people between them, and this is also the 60s when they were like hand letter pressing everything. But yeah, it's hopefully, you know, in 10 years, this is like, oh, cool, we have the record with 45 RPM on the label, even though it's 33. I mean, man, that's like that was a terrible mistake. Yeah, but what can you do?
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. Well, the I mean, you had the last how many albums were out through Anti?
Yeah.
And that seemed like a great relationship there too, and everything. So, did you pick up anything from there, or did you think were there some things like, oh, I definitely want to do this way when I'm doing my own thing, or?
Yeah, we did 3 records with Anti, and Title Fight did 1 record with Anti, and we've known those people from even before that. There's a lot of people over at that label who are really great people who I consider my friend, you know, and they're like, yeah, they care about music. But it's, I don't know. I feel like we pick up stuff along the way from everything. I think one thing that I was trying to figure out is, was press, which is not something that I'm like really fully literate in. Yeah. I've seen it from afar, and that's a thing that I was watching. My friend Christine does press at Anti, and she's since gone on to do other things at the label, and now there's a woman named Kelly who does stuff there. But with like kind of just pay attention to how they were doing things and like the way that they wrote press releases and presented stuff and like who they were sending stuff to. And I was like, yeah, I don't really know how to do that side of things. So like paying attention to that. But yeah, I feel like the label, like the things that we are drawing inspiration from is like a long list of stuff that we've been interested in since we're kids. You know, I mean, Discord Records is like my number one. Like the way that they did everything, I think is pretty and still is just cool. It's and it just like aligns with my values. Like Revelation, like all these hardcore labels that were just like putting out records and they looked good and they were cool bands and they were part of a scene and doing all this stuff, and it's like you can't really replicate that because that comes from the bands and that comes from the stuff that you're putting out. But you can look at the way that they, I don't know, presented it and the way that they, I don't know, made stuff available and how they did stuff and how they treated the bands, you know? So yeah, like those things I feel like we're just looking at always and just thinking about it. And I think just like the DC punk community has always been really great about, I don't know, showing other people how to release your own record, how to like treat bands fairly, how to do all this stuff. And so being in DC and doing this was like a huge thing for me because the people at the record store that I work at are, you know, have been putting out records forever, and like I pick their brains and like I talk to my coworker who does the ordering. I'm like, who do we use for distribution, and like who's like getting to talk to those people about that, and like this is what you can do and kind of like this is what you should do are like two different conversations, and having people who I know I align with ideologically was like a huge leg up for me, because it's like, here are people who've been doing this forever and I like the way they do it and they know how I want to do it, and so we could have a candid conversation about how to realize that. And yeah, I think that was like hugely helpful for me, even though I've been putting out records since I'm 18 too. Yeah, you know, but that's like I put out a record for Stick Together, and that's like, that feels like much more manageable than trying to put out a record for a band that's trying to tour a decent amount and trying to get it into record stores across the world and stuff like that. And so yeah, there was a lot of learning that I did on the job, but I was fortunate to surround myself with people who have done those things and whose opinions that I trust, and yeah, and who have proven that they can do it in a way that I agree with.
Especially in an age where everybody wants vinyl now, you know, and vinyl's the thing to really release stuff through, and probably the best way that bands can make money besides, you know, merch, you know, t-shirts, things like that sort of thing. And that's not an easy process because there's only so many places making vinyl out there, you know, like CDs. It's like, shit, I could, you know, mail away for CDs and have them, you know, here less than a week probably. But who the hell's going to buy them? Because most people don't buy CDs.
I feel like CDs are coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good, because I love CDs. Yeah. Because I was on the tail end of like CD of records in the CDs in terms of, you know, dating myself a little bit, but you know, like my parents had records and they got into CDs, so like I grew up with CDs and I love them. So I still have my whole collection.
Yeah. Okay.
CDs.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to unpack here.
Okay.
It's interesting because, I mean, I have like a really hard time understanding my age in regards to music, because
sure.
I conceptualize myself as being like 18 still, and I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like a lot of people my age got into records because their parents were into records, and it's like they feel it's like a familiarity.
Yes.
And it's like this is what my family listened to, and so I'm attracted to that. And now the kids that are coming up that are getting into music grew up with parents who listen to CDs. And so someone posed that idea to me, like, I kind of buy into that. It's like, it's this thing that you want to return to a comfortable, like, I don't know, this idea of like your musical home or something. Sure. And it's like, yeah, if your parents on the weekends when you're listening to music growing up put on a CD, you probably want to listen to a CD too, because that feels nice. That, and also I think just a lot of people want to have some sort of physical media. Yes. CDs are the most affordable, and they're just like the easiest to own. Like, owning records is a burden.
It really is.
Yeah, it's like you have to store these clunky, heavy things, and when you move, you have to, like, oh my god, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's so fragile too.
Yeah, you have to take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put time and care into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also, I think, why it is attractive in the same way, because it's like, it's a level of seriousness that I think people also, like myself included, like, it's like you have to put it on, treat it right, make sure it's like maintained and all this stuff. But
I like CDs because I don't think there's a case I haven't cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if the CDs are going to come back, can they please make better cases for them?
Yeah. I don't like digipacks. They store poorly.
Yes.
They look bad, but it's but yeah, they don't.
But they don't crack.
Break, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But a thing that I want to touch on right now is that I think ordering music from like a band or label perspective is so weird right now, because I think you could essentially make anything you want without even owning a computer. Like, ordering records is more complicated because it's a more involved process.
Okay.
But honestly, you could just Google like record pressing plant, and there's a bunch of places, and you could just email them the files, and you could just, like, if you get the files from the person who made the record, you could just forward off that email to a pressing plant. And if you have a friend who makes the art and you send them the template, you could just email that off. Like, you could do all this really easy.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. The thing is, I think the information is somewhat obfuscated, which is, I think, maybe somewhat intentional, because people want to make it look like putting out a record is tough, because I think record labels in large part want to make themselves important.
It's still important, right? Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, there are things that I think are tough to do for anyone, but I think the manufacturing of a record and the mailing out of like a physical product is really easy, and anyone can do it. And if anyone wants help doing that, like, I'm happy to provide any information that I have. It's a very doable thing. But the other thing is, records are really expensive, and CDs are really cheap. Like, a CD, if you kind of go like bare bones, I think ours costs like $2 to make or something, you know? And that's great because you could also make them affordable. Yeah. And you could, like, it's a win-win in that regard. And yeah, I think they took 2 weeks to make.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. And like records, yeah, you have to wait 2 months, you have to pay a bunch of money. And so that stuff is prohibitive, but it is an accessible thing. Yeah, and it's I don't know. I think that's like one of the soapboxes that I like to get on. Yeah. Because I want to see bands have the ability to do that if they want to. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think it should be this thing that is behind some iron door. Right. It should be, bands should be able to do this if they want. Because I think physical media is important. And I'm happy to be able to have access to the entire world whenever I want it, but I also don't want to be dependent on whatever tech company to care about what I care about.
Usually an awful tech company that does not have the artists in mind.
No, they don't have the artists in mind, and they are usually just evil. You know, like they are objectively bad people running these companies. And yeah, it's if for whatever, like if Spotify shuts down, or if some, you know, even if they take off like a record that you like, you can't listen to that music then.
Yeah,
and so when you become dependent on these companies, then you are giving them the power to decide what you listen to.
I've said that many times because we have a little shelf over here with physical copies of a lot of local artists and stuff, and I'd love to create more of an archive of that type of stuff and get in touch with a lot of it. Like, hey, if you have a box of CDs sitting around you're not using, like, just we'd love to have at least one in there to just kind of create a collection so that there is some kind of physical presence, because especially with smaller bands, local bands, bands that are kind of doing it on their own, like say they break up and then one of them goes, I'm deleting all this off of the internet. Now there's gone. Just no trace of it, and it's very hard to get. It sucks because all this great music just disappears overnight.
And the worst part is when it's not their choice. Like I think of so many bands who had recordings up on MySpace, and that was that was an important era for myself and a lot of my friends. And we had a lot of things that, like, I don't know, we discovered through that. And if that was where you hosted your music, and if you don't have some sort of personal digital archive where you saved, like the songs that you recorded, it's just gone forever.
Right.
And so when we become dependent on these things, we have to hope that they have our best interest in mind, and often, most of the time, they don't.
Yeah.
And so, like, I like physical media, but I'm also happy to have a digital archive. Like, I don't think you need to make a CD if you don't want to. You don't have to make a record if you don't want to. But I want to believe that, like, I don't know, there is a way that we can save the stuff that we want to save.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got an email from a kid recently asking for old local hardcore records. And it was a really cool email. And I was happy to point him in the direction of these 2 Google Drives that have been shared with me that are just like old, kind of obscure local hardcore demos that somebody ripped.
I have access to one of those. I don't know if I have seen the other one. But
Ben is my hookup on that, so I'll share them with you. But it's like, I love that somebody makes this stuff accessible, because I don't know, this old stuff is hard to come by. Sometimes it's expensive. Because it's rare and it's weird, and I don't know, like, I want to buy a Pale demo really bad, but like one guy put it up on Discogs for $200 or something, and I'm like, God. I'm not going to pay that, but I would like to own this thing. And so it's cool that this stuff can be distributed kind of freely. But somebody has to maintain it, and it's like, whatever, if Google goes down, then like you have to make sure you have it backed up off of Google Drive, because that's where it is right now. And so like, I'm always kind of thinking about these things of trying to archive and preserve these things that are important to me, but they're important to my community and other people's communities, because they were a part of these things. And it's I like to be able to have that stuff around still.
Yeah, and it makes you appreciate the music so much more. Like you said, like, sometimes it's a little ritual of putting a record on, and it's also just listening to a full album, because these days they really just want to feed you singles, and they want you to shuffle stuff all. I tried Spotify for a day and deleted it, because I hated the way that they just kept suggesting things to you, as opposed to, well, I want to listen to what I want to listen to, and I just want to listen to the way I grew up. I buy a CD and I put it on and I listen to it over and over, and a lot of times it would give me such an appreciation for that record that I might not have had otherwise, because there's a lot of them where I listen to it the first time and like, no, this isn't as good as the last one, and then you don't want to listen to, but you're like, well, I just paid a bunch of money for this. It's literally the only money that I had, so I'm definitely going to listen to it again. And I listen to it over and over, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really good. I'm an idiot. Why didn't I catch this the first time? Like that sort of thing.
I think some of the most important records of my life are records that I didn't like immediately.
Yeah,
because they challenged you, and they made you grow in this way, and you learn to appreciate it. And there are a lot of these records that, I don't know, I listened to them when I was a kid and I didn't like them, and I continued to listen to them, and I'm like, it really impacted me. And I have a real appreciation for those records. But it feels really weird in the current moment, because it's like we're kind of reverting to this early music industry idea where, you know, like in the 50s and 60s, everyone's just releasing singles because that's all people listen to. And then like a band like the Beatles come around and they make like the album, the kind of thing that people want to listen to and that musicians strive to make as like this singular statement. And I grew up in an era when the album was the singular thing. And I feel like not everybody listens to music the same way, obviously. And not everybody has to listen to a record front to back. I know that's like, I don't know. That's ridiculous to think that everyone should enjoy music in the same way. But that's how I like to listen to music still to this day. And I like to see how people put songs together, how people present a larger idea through multiple songs, through multiple ideas, through multiple textures and tones, and how they could create this large idea out of all these little pieces. And so I really appreciate that. And that's always been my thing. And so, you know, I've never been a fan of streaming to begin with, but I'm skeptical in a new way, not because that they're trying to push the singles, but because they're trying to push the singles in a specific way. And it also just makes me feel like there is some sort of thing going on behind the scenes, not in a conspiracy kind of way, but it's just like, I don't know, who is benefiting from the algorithm, essentially? Like, obviously, the company who owns the product is going to benefit the most, but then also, like, I don't know, they're like, when I say they, that sounds so ridiculous. like there's some like puppet master or something, but you know, these companies are interested in dictating trends, which is so weird. Because I feel like in the past, it was this thing of, you know, something gets popular really quick out of nowhere, and then everyone has to attempt to recreate it or to make that accessible or something. You know, like if it's a product, if it's like a Beanie Baby or something, you know, it's like Beanie Babies become successful and then everyone's trying to rip them off or to sell them for a bunch of money or do all this stuff. And then like whatever TY is then playing catch up, trying to increase production, do all this stuff. That's, I don't know. I don't care to like really talk capitalist economics, but it's like, there's something about that versus now when they are attempting to create the trends themselves.
Yes.
And they're trying to push things because somebody benefits from that. And it's usually like, I assume, a record label paying off a giant company like Spotify to get access to people's algorithms to push these songs and stuff. And I'm just skeptical of that, you know, and this, like, I feel like a crazy person right now talking about this. And this is not to say that like I have a distrust of I don't know, the world around me by any means, but yeah, I'm happy to get music recommendations from anything. If I discover something cool, that's great, but I don't care to put my energy into supporting these systems that don't support music, that don't support the communities, and that are just plainly interested in making money. And so, yeah, I'm not going to be in that space. If I miss out on something, that sucks, but so be it. It's like, I'm fine over here. I'm still discovering great music all the time. I'm still passionate about it. Yeah, and it's like, I know it's not going to go away, and I know like the convenience factor is huge, and people want that, and that's fine. Because again, not everybody wants to listen to music in the same way, and some people want it to be easy and just like you put something on and it just goes, and that's fine. But I think if you want something more out of it, these other means should be more accessible and should be more available and just more widely talked about. Because it's I think it's tough if you're not trying to be a part of that system to figure out how to find new music, because it feels like alienating and off-putting to not be on streaming. But it's like, it's a doable thing. I think it should just be discussed more or something.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, even the very short time that I tried to use Spotify and understand why other people liked it, because I also found the quality was really bad, too.
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
lowers the quality of a lot of stuff. But it was, the recommendations to me were very cynical, where it was like, I'm listening to a band right now that has a female vocalist, and they have kind of a goth rock sort of sound with synthesizers and things like that. And then the next recommendation was a female fronted band with synthesizers and kind of a goth.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're really just taking these bands and breaking them down into, you know, the genre labels and how they play certain things or whatever. And that's how you're recommending it to me. I'm listening to it based on feel. Like, I like this band because of the way they make me feel, the lyrics, what they're talking about. It's not just, to me, a list of things that you have to check off.
Yeah. It's easy to try and quantify things like that, and I think that often misses the mark.
Yeah.
There's a really great book called Mood Machine by Liz Pelly that came out earlier this year. That's it's all about mainly Spotify, but about streaming music and kind of like the evils of the industry. I highly recommend it. But she has a big thing in the book, and she also wrote articles for the Baffler before that, all about the same issue. And she has pieces about how Spotify tries to regulate mood, essentially. And it's like, if you put on like depressing music, it'll try to like steer you towards being happy and stuff. And also another great point that she brings up is that there's a huge wave of Spotify, and this largely deals with kind of like lo-fi chill beats to study to, but people who create this whatever blanket like ambient kind of music, who do that as their actual like art, or kind of being like elbowed out by musicians that Spotify pays to create music that's similar, that they own the rights to, and that they market for a better price. And so, yeah, it's like there's this this really like kind of scary thing going on where, they're like, it's this, I don't know, this thing being sold that you don't know kind of like where it's coming from and who's getting the money and all this stuff. And it just feels bad. Yeah. Cause it's like, I don't want to be, I don't know. I don't want to be buying something just because it makes Spotify more money or something. You know, like you said, like I want to engage with something because I like it, and it brings me this feeling, and it's like that's so much more important and hard to put your finger on than these other easily quantifiable things. And I think when you do get to it's like when you do break it down by like some absurd metric, that's how you get to this like AI slop that people are trying to make. And it's like, I don't know, people are going to listen to that, and that's going to be like a thing that we're going to have to really deal with in the coming years.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who are just going to be fine with it because they just want this kind of thing in the background or something. But these kind of things like drive me even more to, I don't know, to make music in the way that I want it made and to release it in the way that I want it released, because I don't want to be a part of that system, and I don't want to be a part of, I don't know, I don't want to be a part of any of that. And so creating a realistic underground that is able to thrive is important, like well beyond just the fact that it's, I don't know, it's cool and it gives good bands a place to play. It's like, this ideally is an alternative to a world that I don't agree with. And so if we can continue to help that grow and to show people the benefits of that, I think that's a worthwhile like venture. Yeah. And I'm happy to really try to make that a reality.
Well, it helps to have your own label now to be able to do some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you touched on this before, so I wanted to ask you about it. Revisiting Kingston, was that fun? Was that interesting to hear, listen to? Obviously you're so involved with this project, but to go back for a minute and just kind of like, because I'm sure you probably had to listen to it again and kind of work with it again to re-release it.
We got it remastered, and we spoke to Joe Loftus, who recorded it, who still records in Oliphant.
He does.
Yeah, he
still puts out great work.
Yeah, he does. And so it was cool to get like the original files and to listen to it and try and, I don't know, not to there was like one little thing that I wanted to like fix, and it was just a cut in a song where it's like there was I think it was just like a little pop in between track 1 and track 2 because of the way that we spliced it. And I was like, can we like figure this out? And like that kind of stuff I was interested in doing. But it's, I don't know, I like the past, obviously. Like, I think a person who is really invested in punk music is inherently going to be interested in the past because it's a traditional genre. It's very indebted to the things that came before it. And I've always been interested in, the bands that existed that kind of like created the world that exists today. Yeah. And so, yeah, I like the past, but it's weird to revisit your own past. And so I don't want to get too stuck in that world, and I don't want to get too when I do these things, it's like I try to find my own balance where I feel like I am giving it its due, and like, I want to make this record sound as good as it can. I want the layout to be great. I want it to be like, I want it to present these songs in the best way, while not sitting there and just talking about like, man, remember how great it was in 2008 when we were doing this? Because it's very easy to do that because it was great in 2008. Like, and maybe in 2008 it didn't feel all that great at times. And this is rose-colored glasses, but it's just so easy to fall into some sort of nostalgia, and it's hard to get out of it, Yeah. And so I just try to give like the proper space where I'm, like doing the best I can with the stuff, while continuing to just move forward. It's like, I don't think those are our best songs. I don't think it's, the period of the band that people are the most familiar with or care the most about. But it's like, I feel like it's important to do it showcase it the best that we can, to archive it the best that we can, and make it available if people are interested. It's like I don't know. I think all the things that we've talked about kind of like come together quite well in discussing the Kingston reissue. But it's something that I care about, and I want to do it right. But I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't want to be like only live in that world.
For sure. Well, and that's tough because you guys, as Title Fight, I think has this legacy that continues to resonate today. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bands coming up now, a lot of big bands that cite Title Fight as a major influence, as my band wouldn't exist without these guys, like that sort of thing. So that has to be kind of trippy, kind of interesting from your perspective too, as a big music fan and as a guy who, as you said, understands that everything comes from something else and everything builds on the next thing and stuff. And you guys were on this wave. I mean, I interviewed you back in the Floral Green days,
at my parents' house.
Exactly. So like seeing that growth, and then when Hyperview came out, and how I think at the time there were maybe some people who were like, "What's this? What kind of direction are they going in here?" But it has obviously stood the test of the time, to the point where there are a lot of people who think that's your best work, or but there's so many different there's now another generation of fans coming up now, and that sort of thing. So like, how do you feel about all that as a music guy who thinks about this kind of stuff?
I think this goes back to my what I said before about like not understanding how old I am truly. Yeah. Because I don't think of myself as like a person who has done all this stuff. A person who has like, I don't know. I just feel like I've been doing the same thing since I'm 13, and that's just playing music. Yeah. And I still just want to play music. and I don't really try to stop and think about what I've done and what's gone on. And so to be reminded of that now more than ever it's like weird for me because I don't really think about it. I don't want to think about it because I feel like it's tough. It's tough to rebound from that, to like, I don't want to feel like I have to be better than before or compare myself to before or do anything. It's like, I'm just continuing to play music that I want to hear.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like, it's weird for people to come up to me and to say something as grand as like, yeah, like your music did this for me, or it inspired my band or something. The thing that I try to like find the most comfort in is that for me personally, playing music is like the most rewarding, fulfilling thing I've ever been a part of. And it's sometimes I feel bad because it feels selfish in a way, because it like, it makes me feel so good that I feel bad because it feels like I'm only serving myself in that way. But if anything that I've ever done has inspired someone else to seek out playing music and they found that feeling for themselves, then that feels like a worthwhile thing to me, you know? Yeah, it's like, I try to find comfort in that. But I really try not to think about it. It's I don't know. I don't want to think of myself as a special person because I'm not. I'm just a person like everybody else. And so, I don't know. I like appreciate, I sincerely appreciate that people listen to it. I do my best to make sure that if people have an interest, the things are affordable and accessible. That, you know, if they want to get a record, they can get it. If they want to get a shirt, it's, you know, at a reasonable price. Yeah, and like those are the things that I'm doing now to whatever to help with that. But it's I don't know. It's like it's something I actively try not to think about.
Yeah,
because it's just like I'm still here. I don't want to feel like I'm beholden to that past or to people's idea of what we should be. Yeah, it's just like it was a time in my life like every other. It was a time where I was playing music and I was trying to figure out how to do that. And that's, you know, I'm here 20 years later still doing the same thing.
Well, I think the fact that you're still doing it is just the main thing. I think that's awesome that you're still at it, because obviously I interview a lot of local bands, talk to a lot of people over the years, and I see so many great, talented people that just aren't doing it anymore. It's not all because they lost the passion for it. You know, it's just like circumstances.
Life is tough to find time to do things. You know, and I fully understand that. Sometimes it's tough for me to like realize I've set up my entire life so I could go on tour, still to this day. And it's like, I think at the end of the day, I'm perfectly content with that decision. I think everyone has these moments of doubt where it's like you see other people making these other decisions and other things happening in their life that you kind of take a step back and you think, did I do the wrong thing? Am I like, should I be doing something more traditional?
No.
But I realized, like, I think music is so important that I'm happy to dedicate my life to it. And I'm happy to make myself available to it in that way. Even if that means, you know, like, I don't know, I don't have a traditional life and career. Like, that's okay. Yeah, it's tough, but I think it's, finding the time to do it is worthwhile, no matter what you can do. You know, if it's just playing for yourself at home, like that's, I think, also really great. That all being said, I still like, I'm still going to go back to the community. You know, like I think the community is the thing that like needs the I don't know, the most love and care. And so regardless of what you can do, if you can play in a band or you can book a show or whatever, I think finding the time to still be a participant in the community is maybe the most worthwhile thing, because it gives other people the opportunity to experience the same thing that you got to experience when you were younger and had more time, you know? And that's tough because our responsibilities only continue to grow. Our life only continues to get more confusing and challenging. The world only continues to suck more.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. But so, yeah, it's like I'm always going to advocate for those things while knowing full well that it's like really tough. And I'm not going to get down on anybody for not having the time. But I'd like to think that it's like in that in that selfish side of things, it's like ideally it should bring you some joy. It should make you feel fulfilled that you can be a part of this thing, that you could maybe create something, whether it be music or a zine or you book a show or you put out a record, like any of these things that help the music move forward. Like all these things are so important and they still need to be done every single day. Yep. And so, yeah, like it's, I'm happy to still be here doing it.
So we really want to talk about the new album.
Yeah.
So we have a little segment that we do called The Breakdown, where we go track by track on an artist's latest release to hear the inspiration and stories behind each song. So this can be about the lyrics, the composition, the recording, whatever you think is maybe the most interesting aspect of something that you want to mention, that you want to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
So your fourth full-length album, is that how we're pronouncing it?
Sounds good to me.
All right, that works. Will be released this Friday, November 21st, on all major streaming platforms, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's also available on the Glitter website. You can buy. You can buy the vinyl.
Yeah, it's available at purplecirclerecords.com, and it's also available at record stores. Mm-hmm. And if it's not at your local record store, feel free to tell them to get in touch with Purple Circle personally, info@purplecirclerecords.com, or they could contact a number of distributors who carry the record. It's available tomorrow.
So if there's anything you've taken away from this, please actually buy the record. Don't be streaming it. I mean, I know it's convenient, but let's sit down and actually give it a listen. So for those who are doing so, the first track is Somebody. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so a thing I always say about Glitter is that we're not like a tinkering band, mm-hmm. which is funny now that Colin's in the band, because Colin is maybe like the most tinkering person I've ever met in my life. But I really like to just get an idea, finish it, and then move on to the next one. And I think that's kind of why the band started out writing such short songs. Because it's like, all right, here's 3 parts, they work, let's go. Next idea. But Somebody was a song that I think we tinkered with more than most. And it was, in part, I feel like the song was really simple and the parts worked really well together, I think. But we were trying to find a way to add a little bit of space and kind of like help the parts that were there. And so our drummer Robin suggested that we put the first chorus literally in the middle of the first verse, which was like a really weird idea, something I don't think I've ever tried before. And that like made the song feel really, I don't know, spacious in a way. Because it's a song where I feel like it's pretty consistent, it's pretty driving. And so to add that little, even though there's still vocals in that point, it broke it up in this nice way. And that was kind of like the unlocking moment to me of that song. And I think once we had that in place, kind of listening through it, it made itself apparent that was like a good first song on the record, which to me is, I don't know, one of the most important things in a record. I have like a very specific idea about albums' first songs, and I like feel a very special way about them. And the band makes fun of me for this, but I don't think the first song should be played live before the record's out. and I don't think the first song should be released before the record's fully available. Because I think when you sit down to listen to a record, that first moment of hearing it should be like an exciting thing.
Right.
And so when you know what's first, it's kind of, to me, boring. And you feel like it's this routine that you're going through. But to put on something brand new and to hear that is something that I feel like really protective over. And so I'm like, okay, this is the first song. Like, we're not going to play it live until the record's out. And so even tonight, we're like, we can't play it until maybe like Sunday. And people have had like a couple days to listen to the record.
That's interesting. And I agree. It definitely should not be the single. Like whatever the first single is, they put it on the first. I feel like you're setting yourself up with that by putting that first.
Yeah,
like that's weird to me. So I agree with you there. The second is Stainless Steel. Now this is a single you have released from that, and I saw the music video. I loved the music video.
Thank you. Yeah, Robin, our drummer, did that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, this is the last song that we wrote for the record, actually.
Okay.
And it came together pretty quickly. The way that I write lyrics is that I have like a running list of little phrases. It could be anything from a word to a phrase to like a couplet on my phone. And when a musical idea is finished, I'll kind of like run through this list and find like the little kernel that makes sense with the song, and then expand on it to create a fully realized version of that little idea. And Stainless Steel was something that I had written in my phone since we started working on this record. I was working on this song, and it was, I don't know, it felt like it was coming together pretty easily, and then I like threw that in there, and the lyric as a whole just came to me, and then it seemed like the chorus kind of was written in 5 minutes, and then the rest of the song was written in another 5 minutes, and that's obviously exaggerated. I don't know what it really was like, but in the moment it felt like it was going so fast, and it was just, it came together really quickly, and it was something that I feel like when it was presented to the band, it was basically done. And it felt like a really nice way to go out writing the record. It's I think one of, if not the strongest glitter songs we've ever done. And so like to have that going into the record, it was like a really big boost of confidence for me personally. And I felt like it really, I don't know, it set the tone for going in feeling like I think the record's going to be good. Hopefully, it's hard to tell. we're a little too close to it, but yeah, I felt confident, which was nice.
It's a relatable one too. I felt, just right off the bat, like you could feel it. You could feel the emotion in the song, and I think it was reflected well in the way you guys did the video, which was like it's simple but really effective.
Yeah. A lot of people have been commenting on the lyrics, which is, I don't know, it's nice, and a lot of people are asking me to to explain them a little bit more, and I always have a hard time with that, just because I feel like the best explanation of the lyrics is the lyrics themselves, which is so unhelpful. Yeah. But it's like the lyrics concisely say what I'm trying to say better than I can ever tell you right now. You know? But that song came about after the National Guard came to DC, after like all these terrible things were happening in the world, and it felt I don't know. It felt, as it often does in the current moment, like unbearable. And I was trying to find some way through it, and I think for me that's what a lot of what music is for me, is trying to acknowledge my feelings, to express them, and then to use that to create some sort of positive change, to not like wallow in these feelings forever, but to acknowledge them and then do something with it. And so, I feel like in that point in time, and even to this day, it felt really bleak. And I don't want to feel that way. And I don't want to feel beaten down and feel unable to exist, because my my main thing is I feel like we have no choice but to wake up every day. We have no choice but to exist in this world. And so if we are going to exist, we have to attempt to make it as good of a place as it could possibly be, regardless of everything else trying to stop us from doing that. And so I'm always trying to remind myself of that, I want everyone to feel comfortable and everyone to be able to live a life that they want to live. And so, yeah, to walk out of your door and see ICE agents, kidnap somebody, it's like, it takes a toll on you. And it's
terrifying.
Yeah. It's like, it's really hard to have that be your reality and to not feel like, I don't know, completely beaten down to the point where you can't do anything. And so, yeah, this is like my little reminder to myself that it's like, the world is bad, but we have to continue on and we have to try to be good no matter what.
And so next up we have Until.
Yeah. We played a show in DC in May, and we had a weekend long practice after it. And this was, we knew we were going to do the record, and we were trying to tie up some loose ends. We were trying to get a bunch of creative ideas flowing. And by like the third day in a row of practicing 5-6 hours in a day, we were like really burnt out. And it felt like we hit a wall and we weren't able to really continue on. And then I was just like going through my phone of like saved voice notes that I had. And this was an idea that we just kind of like stumbled across. And it's like, this is really easy and simple. Why don't we just play this like in kind of different iterations as a whole song? Take the guitar out, add it in, take it back out, do a little solo at the end. It was like just simple, kind of felt like the way that Glitter has always approached songs. And it just came together really quick, like in that moment of almost burnout. And then we recorded it and demoed it. And it just like, I don't know, it became this song that just worked so easily. And a thing about the demo was that in the second verse, Colin's not playing, but he has he has two pedals on that are interacting in this really weird way where it creates this siren effect. And Arthur Rizek, who recorded this Glitter record and all the Glitter LPs, great friend of the band and great friend of mine for years and years, he really loved that demo. And he's like, let me try something. He was really into the idea of like fucking around with the record while we were making it to try and, I don't know, just do something, I don't know, like out of left field sometimes. And so his idea was to put the demo under the studio recording. And so you can hear in the background this faint siren, and that's from the demo. But I didn't have like the solo guitar track, so it's the whole demo underneath the song. So there's two songs playing at once, and you can kind of hear like the vocals from the demo in there and stuff in the background. It was a really weird effect that Arthur kind of came up with on the fly, and that's one of my favorite things about the record. It's kind of playful in that way. It's kind of I don't know. It's very serious, but it's also unafraid to just try things. And a lot of that came from Arthur in that moment. And yeah, that's I think one of my favorite parts about that song.
Oh, that's a really cool Easter egg. I have to listen to that.
Yeah.
For that. Next up we have Remind Me.
Yeah, this is one of the earliest, if not the earliest songs that we did for the record. And yeah, this one, I don't know, it's, I think talking about community is really important for the conversation, and I think it's a really important theme in the record. And a thing that I've said about this song is it's probably like the most individualistic song on the record, and a record that's supposed to be anti-individualism. But this song, like, it came to me after just being frustrated with other people's perception of me personally. and yeah, it's like it's a defense of myself in a weird way, but it's also, I think, a lot of songs that I write, I feel like start off in a certain place and then they kind of quickly walk it back. And I feel like there's a couple songs on the record, like Until, remind me, maybe even Who Owns This Mountain, that are like playing with these two different perspectives from one singular viewpoint, of like saying something kind of in anger, walking it back, realizing that's kind of ridiculous. And that's what I think this song kind of is largely, is like being frustrated, attempting to like, I don't know, stake some sort of claim for myself and realizing like kind of how ridiculous that is, in the same breath. Yeah. And so it's, I don't know, I like having a song that is kind of like push, like it has that tension within itself. And it's not even something that I really set out to do oftentimes. But I just think as a human, that's such a natural feeling of this, I don't know, this like internal hypocrisy that we all have. And just, I'm perfectly happy to have that be apparent in songwriting, because I think that's a very human feeling.
Oh, absolutely. That's something we all struggle with.
Yeah.
And then we have Not Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Not Forever was a song that I started when I was at home visiting my parents. And I wrote the end part, kind of like the piano riff that becomes also the guitar riff, and the chords on bass, and I didn't have a good way to record them. And so I went upstairs to my parents' house and I played both on the piano to kind of show the band. And that was like the start of the song. And it's I don't know. I think this is a song that came together really quickly and is maybe like one that I feel like really set the tone for the themes of the record for me personally. Because this is a song that I think really, pointedly takes on this idea of individualism, of this selfish kind of way of life that we're living now that I don't really care to be a part of. And I think a lot of the lyrical content for Glitter has been attempting to find the place that we exist in, attempting to try to understand how we got there, and then attempting to find a way out, because it's not working right now. You know, it's like, it's not that great out there. But I think this song is like, it kind of, I don't know, it puts like the bad out first, and then in the very end, it kind of like flips it. And I think the line, "It's not forever," is this big optimistic moment, because it's, to me, it's saying it doesn't have to be this way, you know? And that's kind of, I think that set like, it set the tone for me in large part for how the rest of the record would come about.
Next up we have Who Owns This Mountain?
Yeah, it's the first song on side B. This song, the title of the song comes from a line that I wrote that came from driving around PA. I was driving to Dallas, and in that rock cut, right where it goes to 35 miles per hour, there is this house up on this hill in the valley right there, and it's like, it's this weird thing because it's like this massive house on this like really beautiful stretch of nature, and there's like a fucking basketball court in the front yard, and like it's just like this massive structure. And I just had this thought while I was driving, I'm like, who owns this mountain? And I just wrote it down, and I came back to it later after something else very not involving ownership and land happened, just like a personal thing. And but the personal thing stemmed from a misunderstanding of the same event. What I view to be a misunderstanding of this idea of one objective thing happening and two people having two very different understandings of the same moment. And the title, Who Owns This Mountain, is supposed to be extremely critical of this idea of ownership.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous to me to think that we can see land that belongs to no one and just like stake claim on it and say like, this is mine now. You can't be on this thing because I own it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like the land has no say on that. The land is free of our ideas, and yet it is subjected to it. Especially growing up here, it's like being surrounded by all this beautiful nature. It's like, I don't know. Like land has no consciousness in this.
Well, that's the worst part is when you have something like that, like a big mountain like that, and you're like, I can't even explore that because it's private property and somebody owns that, and you can't go near. And it's like, why though?
Yeah.
You know, like that's terrible.
Yeah. And so I just kind of like, I started writing the song, and in my mind, I connected these two ideas, which is really tough to do now. But it's this idea of the kind of like impossibility of objectivity and the impossibility of ownership being these connected ideas of I don't know, in this current era we exist in where feelings are passed off as facts, and I don't know, your personal interpretation is like the number one authoritative reason for anything. It's like really difficult to exist in this world in the same way it's really difficult to exist in a world which cares exclusively about ownership and about property and about land, when, you know, people are starving and people are without homes and people are just like looking for comfort. And and so I'm trying to tie these like really difficult ideas together, and it's really, like I said before about lyrics being really difficult to explain. Like, I don't know if I'm doing as good of a job as I would like to be doing explaining this idea, and I'd like to think the lyrics do a better job. But yeah, it's these two ideas that I had that I find a pretty serious correlation between. And it was something that was inspired by home. It was I don't know. It's very indebted to where I'm from, but it's I don't know. Ideally, it's something that stretches far beyond the Cross Valley.
Yeah. Okay, and then next up we have Incremental.
Yeah. Incremental is a song about like the difficulty in understanding change. I've often had this idea that I'm a very unscientific thinker, but the way in which, say for example, you're turning the volume up on a stereo, I feel like when I'm doing this, like the notch between 10 and 11 is barely noticeable to me. 11 to 12, the same thing, but then when you go from 10 to 15, like that's a huge jump.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, there's all these little changes that are occurring all the time that we're maybe not aware of. And then once we're aware of them, it seems like they're too far gone. And so this song is about coming to terms with our inability. And part of it, I think, is just like, I don't know, not wanting change to occur, of trying to be set in our ways, of all, just like these human problems that we have. But also realizing that that's not the end. Like if something has changed, that means it can continue to change. It can continue to adapt and grow. And and I feel like, again, coming from this current moment, it feels like things have gone too far and we can't get them back. But my hope is that they've gone somewhere and we can guide them somewhere else. It just means that we have to put in the work to attempt to guide it.
Sure.
Yeah, and so this is a song that is attempting to do that. It's I don't know. It's a slower song on the record. It's I think it's the lowest note I've ever sung. It's like really tough for me to sing this one, but it's I don't know. I kind of like that. I think about my dad a lot with this one. My dad is a very talented singer, and he is a bass. And he said, like, on a good morning, he could sing a low C. And I don't fully comprehend what that means. But, like, when I sing this, I'm like, oh, this, like, must feel like what it feels to sing a low C in the morning, It's, like, when you challenge yourself in that way, like this, the physicality of music, it's, I don't know. It's something that I feel like gets harder to do as you get older because it's just easy to stay in your ways. But when you do these things, it's, I don't know. It's rewarding in its own sense because it's something that I've never done before. I've never sang in this register. I've never attempted to do that, and to feel like it works is rewarding in its own sense.
And next up we have Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap was another song from that long May writing session, and it's an instrumental, and kind of as soon as we started playing it, it's like I really like this, but I can't sing over this, and I don't know why. It's just like it's something that just felt like we should just kind of let this breathe. And early Glitter records had instrumentals regularly. Looking Through the Shades has 2 instrumentals, but it's something that we didn't do on Rationale, and it was just kind of, I don't know, kind of nice to give a little breathing room. I feel like. I feel like this is really like a call-in song, which I really love. There's a little bridge part, and it's like, it feels so him when I hear it. It's I've told Colin this before. Like when he picks up a guitar, he plays an E chord in this way that's like, it's so recognizable to him, even though it's a chord that everybody plays. It's like such a universal, simple thing, but just the way he plays it, I'm like, that's Colin. I know that. And him playing this little bridge, like, it's just, I can see him when I hear those notes. It's like it's just like a cool reminder to me of how, I don't know, we're these 4 separate people and we come together and we create this thing, and it's representative of all of us. It is all of us putting ourselves into one little song for 2-3 minutes, and that's like I don't know, I think a really special part about music. And when you're kind of able to realize that, even being, I don't know, right up next to it, it's great. It's like, yeah, these are my friends and we're making music together, and like, it sounds like us, and I really like that.
So it's a good showcase for the band.
Yeah, I think so. And it's, Nicole is playing a Mellotron voice on it, which I think is the first time we've ever used that, and that's one of my favorite whatever sounds ever. It's like such a beautiful voice. And like there's just all these little things going on. And it feels like just a nice representation of everybody, I think.
Next up we have New Mattress.
Yeah. The song is called New Mattress because I came up with the idea while I was waiting for a mattress delivery. And it was just, like you come up with a working title of a song just to share with everybody so you can reference it. Yeah. And I was like, well, it's New Mattress Day, so the song's New Mattress. And reworked the lyrics to actually work in a song about receiving a mattress. And it just kind of worked in this weird way. I don't know, it's this is like one of the most driving, aggressive songs on the record. It's one of my favorites, honestly. And it's we've been playing this live for quite a bit too. I've enjoyed playing it live, but it's it's a song that I feel like I don't know how I would have written it any other time but now. And I feel like the more I listen to it, the more I realize like the depth of what I was saying, because it's like, yeah, it's about receiving a mattress, but it's about an exchange that people have about disposing of something, about like a personal comfort, about like all these things. And it's like, I don't know, just something like came together so easily and so quickly. And I feel like it makes so much sense within the record that it's like, I don't know, I don't care to psychoanalyze my lyrics too much, but it just feels like it actually works within the context of songs about community, about individualism, about songs about, you know, the current political moment. It's like all these kind of things are tied together in a weird way. Like these simple little consumerist acts that we take part in are, you know, existing on the same timeline in the same thing. It's like, this is just, yeah, I don't know. It was something that I appreciated more as I just like stepped away from it.
All this insanity going on, but hey, I got a new mattress at least, right?
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. This song, it's like, for an aggressive song, it's like, I think that's not like a typical subject matter, you know?
Right.
But it just like works. And like,
hey, it's an important part of life, especially as you get older and your back is killing you, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so the album closes out with "Self-Sufficient Bliss for All Eternity."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a line.
What a title!
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't come up with it. I stole it. It's from Philip Roth book, American Pastoral, and it's in a part where a woman becomes a Jain, which is a religion, and is explaining the tenets of the religion. And self-sufficient bliss for all eternity is essentially their concept of nirvana. And I've been really fascinated with these concepts for a while now. And I don't know, I find myself writing through that lens a lot. And the song the song is just bass, drums, and vocals. And I don't really think it was intended to be that way. We had a practice kind of towards the end of writing where Robin and I were the only ones who could make it. We started working on a couple ideas, just like throwing out last minute things. And this was a thing that we started. Then we wrote this whole song in that one practice. But I kind of envisioned it being a little more filled out, like, it felt like a thing like it'll start off this kind of subdued, stripped back kind of way, and then the guitars will come in here, and then the keys will come in here, and then once we kind of like, I put vocals over this demo just to kind of show everybody where it was at, and it just kind of felt like complete with just that. And the lyrics deal with ideas about being misunderstood. I mean, the lyrics are about writing, essentially. It's about this idea of not wanting to over-explain, about not wanting to correct the record, about just practicing acceptance, but also about having very specific things in mind that I'm trying to say, about having a goal of things that I'm trying to get across. And like the title, I feel like really married these ideas nicely for me. Because in large part, like, that is some sort of, I don't know, nirvana of being just the simple act of being understood, you know? And I feel like I often allow myself to be misunderstood because I don't want to explain and I don't want to correct the record. And that's also something that I'm trying to find peace in. You know, I don't want to be this I don't know, authoritative matter. I just want to. I want to know what I know, and I don't care to control what other people think about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's yeah, it's the end of the record, and I feel like it ties a lot of ideas together for me, because even in this idea, it's talking about the importance of interacting with other people, about communicating with people, about existing in a community that has multiple viewpoints, that has people, sharing ideas. Yeah, and so it was a really kind of like nice closure for a lot of these things. Arthur really wanted this song to be up on the record. He wanted it to be like I don't know, I think even on side A, and we kind of pushed back on that, and he was like, "The song is really good. You have to like push it. He's like, you have to make a music video for it or something." I'm like, okay. So it's a song that I feel like works well as a closing song, both like untying these ideas together and musically. I think it works really well, but it's not supposed to be like an easy way out, and it's not supposed to be just like a simple closing of the door. It's it's just like the ending of a book, and ideally there are other books that you read after that. There are other ideas that you have after you finish reading, and you try to sort through them and stuff, and it's like that to me is always the goal, to create something that feels like a comprehensive, and it feels like a singular idea. And that's why I like the album. The format of the album, it allows the space to try and to get to one big idea. And yeah, that's like my hope through putting this song last, is offers a nice closing and offers some space for recollection, hopefully.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. That was quite the trip there in terms of the album. I can't wait to actually sit down and experience it.
Thank you.
From that way. What made you pick the title for the album? Almost seemed kind of just like a fun little joke, I thought.
Yes. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
like it is nothing. We were having like a conversation around the title, and I almost wanted to come up with something so completely like arbitrary, as if it was like some sort of product ID or something.
Okay.
Like in like a facetious manner. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what if we called the record like, I was like X400 or something, and it just sounds like a model number of something. And I feel like this idea kind of came from that, where it's just gibberish, but it really looks nice when because we just, and also the idea was there is not a consistent usage throughout the layout of the record. The cover has it twice. If you open up the record, it's across the record four times. On the spine, it's like 100 times. On the insert, it's like 6 times. It's just like, yeah, it's just a ridiculous idea that it was, I don't know, fun to play around with.
Yeah, I figured it's because of the spelling of the band name.
Exactly. Yeah,
pretty funny. And we do have some fan questions and stuff. The only other thing I wanted to ask about was you also wrote a novel.
Yeah.
Horizontal Rust.
Yeah.
Came out a few years back. Was that just something you always wanted to do and kind of check off the list, or was it like there was a story that maybe you felt like you couldn't tell in music, or like what was the inspiration to do that?
I feel like just being involved in punk has always left this impression on me that if you like something, you can and should be involved in it. And so when I got really into reading, I don't know, my late teens, early 20s, like reading literary fiction pretty seriously. And I think I just, I don't know, had the same idea. It's like when you listen to music, it's like, oh man, I want to start a band.
Yeah.
I was reading a lot. I was like, it would be really fun to try and write. And I went back to school and I studied creative writing. And I started what became the book in like my final workshop. And it was just a goal of mine. It's like, I don't know, in the same way that I view the album as like the premier format for music.
Yeah.
Novel to me is like, that's what I almost exclusively read. That's what I really enjoy. And so it's like, I just want to see if I could do this, if I could fully realize this idea that I have in my head. And and I started working on it. And I worked on it for maybe 2-3 years. And I found a great publisher with Shining Life, who are friends of mine from DC. They put out a lot of really great books. Most of them are music books, but they've done 2 novels. And it was just something I wanted to try to do. It was, I don't know, a challenge for sure. It was new to me, and it was hard to figure out how to get everything in the right place. But it was just something that I wanted to try to figure out.
As a writer myself, it's always been on my list. So I'm always happy to see somebody, publish a book, because I know what a gigantic task it is.
Yeah.
To actually make it happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is.
And it's a lot of work just like sift through the information, One of the great things about music is that you can have an idea and then you could kind of like check your idea in 2 minutes. Because it only takes that long to listen to a song, unless you're writing these grand epics. But it's like, if you're writing music within our world, it's like, you come up with an idea and you can listen back to it fairly quickly. If you write something long, you have to allow yourself the time to sift through all of the information. And it's like, I mean, you could read books quickly, but that's still a couple hours at least.
Sure.
And that's like, it's hard to be in the headspace to keep all that information straight for that extended period of time.
Yeah.
And so that was a thing that I really tried to work on. And also I think allowing your space to have a different perspective on things, because I think with music, you could put something down and come back to it in a little bit and be like, I understand what I was trying to do, but I kind of missed the point. And maybe it's just because I've been doing it longer, or I don't know, but I feel like I'm able to look at things differently in music much faster than I am with writing. And in writing, I feel like I had to put it away for like a month and come back to it and be like, I feel like it's just something as simple as when you're writing, you are putting down what you're thinking, and sometimes you don't actually put down what you're thinking.
Yes, I
it's
know
a simple
exactly
mistake, and so it's like when I come back to it, I need to forget what I was thinking in that moment, and I realize, what I have on the page is like not actually what I was trying to say.
Sure.
I'm like, I need to add something to connect this idea, to explain what I'm thinking in this moment.
Yeah.
And that was something that I had to actively work on. It was just not getting too caught up in it, allowing myself some space to like objectively look at the words. And that was really tough, honestly.
Yeah. Well, congrats for getting it out there.
Thank you.
All right, so we asked you guys what you wanted to ask Ned, so we got quite a couple of good ones that I think are fun and interesting. Christopher asks, what is your favorite song and album in your discography, both Glitter and Title Fight?
I mean, it's always tough because it's like
picking your favorite kid type of thing.
It's that, and it's also like, it's, I have a crazy recency bias because I think new things are always the most exciting, and I think that's a pretty normal thing.
Sure.
So like right now, my favorite Glitter song is probably Stainless Steel. but who knows what it'll be by the time we write another batch of songs, you know?
Yeah.
And then like even though Hyperview came out, I don't know, 10 years ago at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like Backwards Charm is still one of my favorite songs. And that's because it's like, that was the fun, exciting song to play. Yeah, it's just, for me, it's like always songs that I'm looking forward to playing live, honestly. And it's just always, new songs are just always the most fun to play live.
Of course. And I'm glad, by the way, that the Hyperview mural got saved as well. That was harrowing when that happened. I could not believe.
That was a weird thing because we really followed John Slaby's lead on that. And Slaby came from graffiti.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the ideology with that is like you have this acceptance of impermanence. It's like you put something up into the world and it could be painted over tomorrow or in a year, 10 years, but it's just like, that's it. What are you going to do? You can't go back.
Yeah.
And John like really didn't want to comment on anything. He really wanted to just like let it take its course. And in large part, I agreed with that. And I was like, yeah, like if it gets covered up, there's nothing we can do, because also we went into it knowing that we're these little shithead kids from Kingston. Like, people don't really care about us. We're just like trying to like put something cool in the town we grew up in because it just seemed like something we wanted to do. And we know full well that people don't really care about that here. And so it's like,
unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's, you know, like, I think that was a big part in us doing it to begin with. Like, that's why we got involved in music here, because like people didn't care. And that gave us the space to do a lot of really cool things. It gave us, like, you know, the ability to open a venue in a strip mall because, like, people didn't care. You know, like, we could just kind of do whatever we wanted.
Right.
So there's a lot of freedom in that regard. But then it also, like, we're accepting that our freedom is not the only important thing. And so if like the owner of a building wants to cover it up, there's nothing we can do. Yeah. But the outpouring of support made us realize that it was, I don't know, it wasn't our responsibility to ensure that it was saved, but like we were speaking on behalf of other people in my mind. It's like, if other people want this to be preserved, then we want to preserve this. And now, after the tragic passing of John Slaby, we feel even more responsible to make sure that is preserved. That, I think, is his only piece of public art. And so we really wanted to do our best to make sure that it's around. Because it's important to us, in large part because of our relationship with him. And so we're really serious about trying to preserve it at this point.
Well, you know, it was, to me, the whole thing was very emblematic of kind of what you said, that Wilkes-Barre didn't really seem to understand, at least on the politician side, as they're rubber stamping this stuff and it goes through the paperwork and whatever, because they want to put up a billboard. I mean, that's really what started the process, was they were just going to put a huge billboard there, and they kind of did. I mean, it's literally right above it. It's kind of into the top of it a bit. It really cuts into it a little, and it drives me crazy when I look at it. But like, that was, to me, it was like, you guys don't know that there are people who drive from across the country to go and stand in front of this thing and then go, and that's it. They came all the way here to stand in front of this. And you guys, who obviously, you know, I think one of the politicians' number one job is to bring people into your city. And, you know, want people to stay there and, you know, maybe spend a few bucks and, you know, hang around and see the sights and whatever. And here you have something that is doing exactly that and bringing people into the city for a positive reason. And you guys don't even know that it exists or that it has any sort of importance at all. That's to me, that said a lot.
We had a meeting when it all went down with the mayor of Wilkes-Barre and some like council members and the guy who owns the billboard. And it was this really weird thing because, well, one, some of the local politicians were very kind in saying, like, we know the music scene from Wilkes-Barre is one of like our most valuable exports, and it's like we've never heard that stated from anybody.
I've never heard that either.
Yeah, and it's like, and they were like talking about how they wanted to, preserve it, and they're like, we know that people come to look at the mural, and then like they do a little bit of like local tourism, and that's true. Like we are shown evidence of people all the time coming to the mural and then going to Angelo's, and then going to like one of the record stores in town, and then like doing this kind of stuff. It's like businesses benefit from that, and that wasn't our goal, obviously. Like,
sure, yeah, it was what you were thinking about when you.
No, like that's ridiculous to think about in 2015. But
yeah,
it was like very nice to hear that, but there's still like a real misunderstanding of what it is, and still a real lack of support.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, I don't expect to have the support of any local government. Like,
sure,
we're going to continue to do this no matter what.
Yeah.
And to me, that was also, like, if the mural got covered up, to me, it's like, this should add fuel to the fire. It's like, yeah, people don't care about us. We are not going to be protected unless we protect ourselves. So, like, unless we ensure that we have venues for bands to play those venues, people to book the shows, like, it's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, a silver lining in that was, like, hopefully people came to realize that. It's like, the reason the mural exists there is because we put it there. The reason that we existed is because we started the band and we did all this stuff. And I don't want this to become some sort of, like, I don't know, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of like idea, because it's not that.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to do the work or something. But it is this idea that it's like we have to preserve the community. And I think that is the thing. Like, the larger picture is the important thing.
That's the real takeaway.
Yeah, and that's what, like, is important to me about the mural and its preservation and just the local scene in general.
And of all things, to put an advertisement up there. Dear God. Talk about messing them.
They put up that TJ Maxx ad first, and the font was abysmal. It's like,
it's not even a good advertisement.
Yeah, like, come on.
So we have Caesar said, well, we kind of answered that question about a title fight being influential. So you go back and listen to that part of. Derek asks, if you had to do another split where you covered each other's songs, which band would it be and why?
That's tough. I don't know. I think there's a band, Toner, from the Bay, who we toured with, when was that, last year? And they're a really great band. They run their own label called Smoking Room. They became good friends of ours on that run. And they just do things in a way that I like, and I like their band. And I feel like we are, like, coming from different places geographically, but they're just a group of people that I align myself with. And I feel like our differences kind of, like, are apparent in our music. But I think our similarities are apparent in our approach. And so they're a band that, like, I feel very, I don't know. I feel like...
Like a kinship?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's, like, what I would like to showcase is, like, they're a band whose music I love and who are doing things in a cool way. And, yeah, that's the reason that we did the split with Touche Amore, because it was the same idea. It's like, they were doing a split series, and that was kind of like what sparked it, but it's like, we were happy to do that because these are our friends who we've toured with a bunch, who we care about, and whose music we like, and it's like, we just want to be a part of that and showcase that.
And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing. Alui asks, are you working on a new book? Or do you have any ideas for a new book?
I have an idea, but I'm not working on anything. I was able to write the book in a time when I was just touring, and so I'd come home from tour, and I'd, like, work on another draft of the book. and now I work 9 to 5. So my writing time was taken up by work. So I don't know. I maybe at some point I'll get back to it, but yeah, it's just focusing on music at the current moment.
They also want to know what they can expect from your set at Something in the Way Fest in Boston, which is coming up next year.
Yeah.
Playing will be songs from the upcoming album, a bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because it's 2 months away.
Quite a few.
But yeah, we always try and have a good spread of music from different albums. I mean, in an ideal world, we'll be playing new songs at that point, like newer than the new record.
Yeah.
We're always trying to work on stuff, and so if we could finish up some ideas, I'd love to take them on the road already. But yeah, we're definitely gonna play a bunch from the new record. We're all really, I don't know, excited to be able to play those songs, and so I think you could expect what you could always expect from us. We're gonna play a bunch of songs. Our songs are short enough that we're normally playing like 20 songs in a set. So it's gonna be a lot. Yeah, we're gonna play a lot of songs as fast as we can.
I saw you guys are playing Coachella too.
Yeah,
that's gotta is that a bucket list thing, or is that just
No.
just cool? Just another date.
It's cool because especially now when we're putting out our own record, it's nice to have that validation maybe to other people. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, we put out our own record, we manage ourselves, we do everything ourselves, and we're playing Coachella.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to do all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm happy to have the opportunity to play music to people. That's like really what it comes down to for me. It's obviously like a very big fest. It's a big deal, and we're very appreciative for the opportunity. But we don't set out to be like the biggest band in the world. Our goal is not to be like, I don't know, number one on the charts. Like, we don't care. We just want to be able to play music. And so the fact that they're giving us an opportunity to play music is great, and we're happy to take that opportunity. But we're not trying to, I don't know, change anything about ourselves to please anybody.
Yeah. Holly Ann asks, what are you currently reading? She's looking for suggestions.
Yeah, I'm really sad because I forgot my book at home this week for these shows. But I'm currently rereading a Frederick Bartholomew book called Waveland, which he's one of my favorite writers, and he's always writing about like the pocket of the U.S. around like Texas and Mississippi and stuff. And he wrote this book shortly after Hurricane Katrina, and he's always writing about these like kind of down and out, I don't know, like weird relationships where it's just kind of like a guy trying to make it by and dealing with, you know, whatever kind of normal life stuff. I don't know. It's like kind of very slice of life in that way. But he's a really talented writer. My favorite book by him is Bob the Gambler, which that and Elroy Nights I highly recommend. But I don't know. I always have a tough time recommending anything because I'm bad at thinking on my feet, and I have like a hard time remembering the things that I've like recently engaged with. But when I'm put on the spot, but Annalise Chen put out a book this year called Clam Down that I really like. That's kind of memoir-ish, but it's really great. Yeah, I don't know. There's I try to follow small publishers and just kind of see what they put out. So I really like to check out Coffee House, $2 Radio, Deep Vellum, a bunch of stuff like that, who are just putting out books by, you know, small new authors. It feels like punk to me in that way. It's like it's this little small community, and it's tough because so many people are trying to write all the time, and so many books come out every day, just so many records.
Sure.
But yeah, that's like the kind of pocket that I exist in, and I like to kind of attempt to stay current with those publishers in that world.
Chris asked, will we hear some more screaming on the new album since we heard some on the new single, Not Forever? I just thought that was just a funny question.
Yeah.
It's very specific. He wants the screaming.
I guess so. I don't know. I don't like think of it in those terms. But yeah, there's definitely like some more I guess aggressive songs on this record.
Felix asks, what are your favorite cities to play in, and what city brings the right energy?
There's a lot of great cities to play all over. Obviously I love playing here. I love, like, this is like the most emotionally fulfilling place here in DC where I live now, or like, yeah, that's like, that means the most to me. But I love playing Philly. I love, like, Southern California as a whole is like usually just crazy. Shows there are like really, really energetic, and really just, I don't know, seemingly like always well attended. They just have like a really strong young scene over there, which is really cool. I like playing in Japan a lot. We had a really insane show in Indonesia, in Jakarta. I don't know. I feel very fortunate to have the opportunity to be able to travel. And like there are some shows that are packed and crazy, and there are some shows that are the opposite. But I just feel still like amazed that we have this opportunity to go and do that. And so, yeah, I'm earnestly happy to play anywhere. Like, sincerely, I will play anywhere that allows us to play. And so, yeah, that's still like my goal, to play new places, play places that we haven't been to in a while. That's why, like, playing Allentown last night was exciting. Yeah, it's like we haven't been there. Glitter has never been there, and I haven't been there in so long. So yeah, just to have the opportunity to play anywhere is something that I'm like, I really appreciate. Yeah, it's one of the very unique opportunities of being in a band, and even like beyond the travel part, which is great, and I'm very appreciative of that. Just being able to get to meet new people, tap into a local scene for a little bit, get to see how other people do things, and just like build your kind of like our little punk network a little more and more. Like, that is something that I just always still appreciate.
I saw you guys within the past year did Australia, Latin America. Yeah. So, I mean, really.
Yeah. Cool. Santiago, Chile was like one of the best shows we've ever played. Like, that was a great city. Like, yeah, like all this stuff it's crazy that we have these opportunities.
That's unreal.
Yeah. And I think when Title Fight was so full on, I don't know. It's not like I took it for granted, but it was just something I was like, yeah, like, we're going to continue to tour. Yeah. And it like felt like something that was possible. And Glitter exists on a different scale, and part of that is maybe intentional, just because we're an underground band, and that's kind of like the goal. But I didn't think I was going to be able to go back to Australia again, or to be able to go to Central and South America, like, and to have that opportunity again. I was like, it was amazing, and I felt so appreciative in those moments. And touring South America was really difficult this time around, just because the travel is really rough down there. Just in terms of like, we were sleeping maybe 3 hours a night, and having to travel and then play and, set up, and we're trying to play to the best of our ability, which is, to us, is like, it's a serious physical commitment. Yeah. And so we're trying to do that while we're all sleep deprived and like not sure what day it is and stuff. But I don't know. I always want to take that opportunity still. Like, I just want to be able to play music, and I'd love to be able to play music to people, in their city who can't travel elsewhere. Like, yeah, that's one of the most amazing parts about this whole thing. It's like, it's tough to travel, and so if we can bring music to people, that's like, I don't know, that it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And real shows too, because I feel like we've talked about this on the podcast many times, so I won't go off about it, but in this very kind of corporate owned world
Yeah.
where all of the venues are being controlled by these big companies and they're adding all these fees and things on the tickets and stuff, and it's very expensive for people. It's so important to have small accessible shows for people in their hometowns that they can go to and just spend a couple of bucks and get a real music experience, as opposed to having all of those gates put up that they have to get through.
Yeah, I watched a really amazing YouTube video about like Ticketmaster and Live Nation and their association, and essentially how they're like the most evil company in the entire world. But they had this really salient point in this video, essentially about how Ticketmaster markets their stuff as these like once in a lifetime opportunities. It's like, oh yeah, you should pay $1,000 to go see X artist because it's like, I don't know, it's like a vacation or something. It's like this thing that you should splurge on because it's this grand, amazing experience.
Yeah.
And I feel the complete opposite about music. Like, I think music is this like beautiful, life-affirming connection. And I think that we should be trying to make that more accessible. Like, we shouldn't put it behind these huge barriers, because what are you supposed to do? Like, not experience something that's really important to you? Or even worse, like, go into debt to experience that? Like, that's ridiculous. And so, I don't know. If we can make everything, I don't know, accessible, affordable, and just strip it down from all these like the stupid, I don't know, pretensions, like, I think that'll be hugely beneficial to everyday people, which we all are, you know, like, and so, yeah, that's like something that's very important to me. I come like very directly down the line from Fugazi, and it's like, I think they did things in a really easy way where it's just like, we make our shows affordable so you can come and check us out. And if you don't like us, you don't have to feel bad leaving. You know, and it's like, it's not that much of a burden. It's like, make the show affordable and and just have it be this thing, because it shouldn't be this big show. It shouldn't be like this extravagant idea. And like, and that being said, whatever, some of those like big extravagant things, they're nice. I flew to see Paul McCartney recently, and it was like amazing. I legit cried. Like, he's amazing. Those songs are like so important to me. But I don't know. I think like there are those groups and artists that like, they're too popular. They have to play these big events. But I don't think they should be $500. And I think that people can charge an affordable rate and they could still make a halfway decent amount of money. For sure. And it's like, it's just more about what you're saying. Like, these giant companies, they're trying to make money. Yeah. And so like, we should all be actively trying to circumvent those people and those companies and just trying to find a way to return to this very simple, affordable way. Band, venue, promoter, person. If you have that, it's like so much easier, so much more affordable for everybody, and it gives everybody more control and more access, and that's a very righteous fight.
Absolutely. And that, you know, it kind of ties into the last question, which you know, I had from a couple different people, but one guy in particular I think put it really well. So obviously everybody, of course, is going to bug you about title fight reunion, all that kind of stuff. You get it 100 times, and I think you've answered it 100 times in a way that makes sense, in a way that totally is fair, makes sense. But John had asked, with all the festivals out there getting bands to reunite, play their classic albums in full, that kind of stuff, have you guys gotten any of those kinds of crazy, I mean, what you can say, of course, but like, have people approached you about, like, you know, we would offer you a ridiculous amount of money to do this, or we would, you know, whatever, and like, that's gotta be insane too.
Yeah. It's, we get hit up, and it's like silly. I don't fully know how to navigate it. Because one, returning to my previous answer, it's like I don't know. I don't think of ourselves in those terms. Like I don't think of Title Fight as like this super important band. You know, we're just a band. We're just a group of friends who came together who played music.
Yeah.
Like every other single band before us, and every band that has continued since. And so it's really tough for me to just like wrap my head around that idea to begin with. I don't know, the current state of things is like so weird because it kind of goes back to my last answer. It's like they are trying to create these like huge events for people.
Yes.
And quite frankly, I don't want to be involved in that. Mm-hmm. It's difficult because we all exist in this system and we all need money. Mm. And it's like, I understand that I'm in a position of privilege and I'm fortunate enough that I'm not dependent on that money to have to do that. And if we were dependent, we would, you know, like it would be different. But yeah, I'm perfectly content with the decisions that we've made. I don't really have any interest in those fests. I especially don't have interest in these like album playthrough things. I think that's so boring. To me, the live experience is like the number one thing. Music live is like my religion. It's like the number one thing to me. It's so amazing. And part of that to me is seeing how songs interact with one another, how a band builds a set list, how you know, like the momentum is built through this I don't know, this moment in time. And I love records too, but when I sit down to listen to a record, I'm listening to a very curated representation of a band. And I know that. And I love to listen to records. This has been said so many times in this interview already. Like, I want to listen to a record straight through. But when I see a band live, I want them to show me what, like, the band is. And when I see like, an album playthrough, you're seeing... You know exactly what you're getting, number one, which is boring. Number two, it's not going to be like the record. And if I want to listen to a record, I want to listen to a record. Yeah. I don't want to hear somebody 10 years down the line trying to sound like they did or trying to recreate these things that they just can't because they're in a different time and place.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so it's like, I just really have no interest in that. I don't really like to go see it personally. I don't like. I understand the appeal of it, and part of why I think the appeal is because people don't listen to records anymore. This is like one of my theories: is that like the playlist and the algorithm has really created this environment that these album playthrough shows can exist in because it's a novelty now. Like people don't listen to records, so it's like, oh, remember when you listened to records? It's this weird thing.
Right.
Yeah, and so I just don't really feel like I exist in that world. And so I just don't really want to be a part of it.
The only thing that I like about those types of shows is that it'll force the band to play songs that they don't normally play a lot of
That's
times.
Cool.
That part is cool to me. It doesn't matter the order or anything.
Yeah.
But it's cool that, like, okay, there's one song that I love that nobody else seems to care about.
Yeah.
That's stuck on that album. That you know, they play all the singles around it, but they won't play that song.
Especially bands who have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
That part's cool.
But
other than that, I'm totally with you.
Yeah. But the other thing is, like, it's not like I think bands are bad for doing this.
No.
Like, I totally understand it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, people pay you more money when you do this for some reason. And it's like,
right.
I don't know, that's like a perfectly reasonable thing.
In a day and age when bands make next to no money on anything, you know, I guess you got to take it where you can get it, you know?
That's totally fine. Yeah. I just don't care for it personally, you know? Yeah. I want to see a band be a band. And to me, that is like playing songs live and experience that in real time.
For sure. All right. Is there anything else that you want to mention? I know we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
So.
No, thanks again so much for having me. I'd like to sincerely thank everybody for supporting the new record and the label. Like that really means a lot. And yeah, anybody interested in that side of things, like feel free to reach out to us. I'm serious about like if people want to release their own records, hit us up. I'm happy to walk people through that process. Yeah, and thanks so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So thank you to everybody who tuned in to this episode of the NEPA Scene Podcast. Whether you have or not before, I hope you like it enough to do all of those good algorithm things. I know we've just spent a lot of time talking about anti stuff, but you got to play the game sometimes, unfortunately. So like, comment, share, all that good stuff. It really does help us reach more people and continue the conversation long after we've recorded this. So if you guys could please do all that good stuff, that would be great. You can follow NEPA Scene on all your favorite social media channels and all that kind of stuff. But thanks again for tuning into this one, and we will see you usually Wednesdays. So we'll see you next Wednesday on the next NEPA Scene Podcast. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.